Good day, mate. Gonna do a review of this Don Carlos Personal Reserve. I just smoked the Shark the other night. Both of these have the same treatment. They were in cello, in a box, in a humidor for about a year, and then I unsleeved them for a day or two or something like that, not long at all. So same conditions as the Eye of the Shark. Humidity. Now this thing just approximates, based on the moisture content, what the humidity might be. And the pack in this is tighter than the Eye of the Shark, so I think that's why it might be registering a percent or two higher. But 62 is what we're getting. I like this thing to say high 50s or low 60s, and my smokes tend to be great. I don't know if that means it's actually a relative humidity inside the cigar of high 50s or low 60s, because my humidors are set at 65%. The average are 65 to 67%. But whatever that means, when that Humidimeter Pro comes in at high 50s to low 60s, things tend to smoke well. So let me cut this thing with my Zycar flat cut. Just gonna take a little bit off the end there. Draw is firm, not tight, not loose. It's slightly firmer than I like it, but it's gonna be just fine. Put a fan flame to it. I screwed up the last video notes I took. I did this out of shot. I was like just below the camera shot, but I don't claim to be a YouTuber or anything like that. I think I might be scorching this wrapper by accident. This fan flame is usually pretty good about not scorching wrappers. All right, that's pretty good. I don't know what's going on there. We just got hit by a tornado recently. About 4 or 5 weeks ago. House took a direct hit from a tornado. It's like an F2. I think we might have gotten the lighter side of that F2, but if you look at the path, it went directly over the bin. It's a long story, but yeah, I opened the front door and there was a tornado on my front porch, practically. So I grabbed the wife and we got in the most interior closet that we could find, and all hell broke loose, and then it was over just as quick as it came through. It was just gone, and it was an eerie quiet in the neighborhood other than people, coming outside checking on everybody. But I mean, it was a wreck. Our neighborhood does not look like the same. Like, damage everywhere, trees gone. It's wild. So I'm dealing with the whole insurance process. Roof damage, fences down. I got a wall that I need to replace, like a whole brick wall that needs to be replaced. I've got a large oak in the front that I probably have to have removed because it was split. So yeah, it's been a thing. Whew. But not everybody can say that they've been through a tornado. And I was on TV twice. They interviewed me like 2 times and then aired me on like 5 different segments. And the first time I was smoking got a fire. Carlito, 2020. Okay, this is coming in with more pepper, more white and black pepper than that, mostly white. And actually, you know what? It's a little bit of black pepper. It's mostly white and a red pepper spice. Yeah. That draw is actually perfect. Okay, a lot of similar notes to the Eye of the Shark. I kind of like a nice Robusto Vitola better. This Don Carlos Personal Reserve has presumably the same blend as the Eye of the Shark, or at least close. I know that they're both supposed to be tweaked blends off of the OG Don Carlos line. This is Don Carlos's Personal Reserve, so it's supposed to be his blend. That I guess this might have been his daily or something. I don't know if it was daily, but it's one of his preferred blends, if not his preferred blend. But Cameroon wrapper, Dominican binder filler, the whole nine. Spice has already died down. The smoke production is crazy with this thing. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but lots of smoke. Yeah, so you got that white pepper, that red pepper spice. There's a creaminess already being folded in. I'm not really getting that lemony citrus off the rip like I did with the Eye of the Shark. There are some vanilla and caramel notes in there. Baking spices, couldn't tell you. There's a nuttiness, definitely caramel. There's cedar. Maybe a little bit of lemon in there. It's folded in with the cream a little bit. The nuttiness, it doesn't come across to me as sunflower like it did in the Eye of the Shark. Yeah, so far so good. I'm gonna keep puffing this down. I guess once I get down to about right here, I'll go ahead and chime in and update the video notes. Peace. All right, so we're about a third of the way through the cigar. That ash, it's a little bit flaky, but it's nice and tight. It's tight and white. Construction, burn line, everything's on point right now. I'm gonna go ahead and ash this. Yeah, it was ready. The cigar is kick-ass so far. Which is no surprise. I love this stick. I love this stick. Man, it's so good. So there's a lemony citrus right up front. It's a sweet lemony citrus that's creamy, and it has a caramel, a vanilla, but mostly a caramel base with cedar, perhaps a bit of oak, definitely some leather, and then on the retro, you're not on the palate, a little bit on the palate, but on the retro you are getting a good amount of white pepper and red pepper. There's maybe a little sprinkling of a little shake of black pepper, maybe, but mostly white pepper and red pepper. There's a little bit of nuttiness in there, but nowhere near what the Eye of the Shark brings. So I guess if you really like the sunflower seed nuttiness, then Eye of the Shark is probably for you. For me, it's so far, it's the Personal Reserve all the way. Right now, we got 2 snaps up, so. Personally, I like the format too. It just performs better. It burns better. As I say that, I gotta touch it up. That's because I'm over here tightening up my books for the year, and I kind of let this thing fall off a little bit, and that's my fault. It's not the cigar's fault. There she goes. Oh yeah, so good. To me, it's just, there's no off notes. No off notes. At this point, I was getting kind of like a bit of a metallic, minerally thing going on with the eye of the shark that's not present in this stick. Yeah, it's good. So all that sweetness, that lemony, citrus, creamy sweetness with the caramel backbone, with the woods and the leathers and baking spices. Should I try to parse that out? I probably shouldn't try. All that is well balanced, and that the pepper spice on the Retro Hill really just keeps it from going too far to the sweet side. A little bit of the nuttiness coming in now. Yeah. All right, well, I'll smoke this right to the middle of the band about there, and then I'll check back in with some more video notes. Like men. All right, it's time for an update. So we're about done with the second third, getting close. As you can see, I got the bands off without taking half the wrapper off, which is a somewhat common problem with Fuente cigars. But this one seemed to come off with no problem. You can see the glue behind the secondary band there, and the glue on the main band, and there's no wrapper stuck to it, so great. Construction is good, burn line is good. Flavors. So you're first greeted with a brown sugar oak leather base. That caramel has kind of, as the strength is picked up in the cigar and the flavor is picked up in the cigar, you're getting more of a brown sugar rather than a caramel. So the flavors have deepened in the base. And as mentioned with the strength, that's picked up a little bit too. Nothing that's punching me in the throat or turning me green or anything like that, but it's there and it can be felt, and it's nice, it's not bad. If my recommendation is that if you haven't smoked a fair amount of cigars, if you're not relatively seasoned, then you're gonna want a full meal before the cigar if you plan on smoking it all the way, because I think the strength will pick up on you, and if you don't handle nicotine well, and you haven't had a good bit of food in you, then you might get that sugar plummet and not feel too great off of this. That being said, it's not like a full strength cigar, but it's ramping up to that medium plus area, and it burns nice and slow, so it could present a problem for some people just because of how long it ramps up, and you wouldn't expect it from this Robusto size cigar. It might even be a little bit shorter than your typical Robusto. Okay, moving on. About that base, we've got that caramel that's moving over to a brown sugar. There's oak, there's leather. It's a really nice base. That kind of alternates back and forth between a nuttiness that kind of, it moves in and out, and that nuttiness is kind of, it's more of an almond nuttiness than it is a sunflower nuttiness, but you can taste some sunflower in there, but none of those metallic mineral notes that I caught in the eye of the shark. So it's quite pleasant, and no burning notebook paper, so that's good. Burning construction paper is not a note that I really like. I don't know anybody that really likes that note. Now, what immediately pops up and cuts through that whole base is this sweet, somebody's riding a bike, is this sweet, lemony citrus. This guy was like riding wheelies in the neighborhood earlier. It's funny, I was training a client earlier, and she thought that she recognized him as a former tutoring student, and she got a good look at him as he was doing a wheelie by, and she goes, "Yeah, that's him. That's I won't mention his name." Anyways, that sweet, sugary, lemony citrus just cuts through the mix, and it's so good. Oh, it's so good on the Retro Hill. It's fantastic. Yeah, and it's like a high quality, sugary, lemony citrus thing going on. It has depth, you know. It's like the difference between lemon juice out of a bottle and like fresh squeezed with lemon zest and sugar mixed in it. It's fantastic. Now there is a creamy note also. Yeah. There's a creamy note, but also a creamy quality to the whole thing. Now, there is a bit of bitter dark chocolate. I could try to parse it out and say it's milk chocolate, and then with a separate bitter note, but I'll just say it's dark chocolate with a little bit of bitterness on the back end. But it's not a bad bitter. It's not bad. It's enjoyable. Yeah, a little bit of that, but it's not acrid. It's just a flavor note. What else can I say about it? This guy's going wild back here. Yeah, see that almond nuttiness came in right there, and it just kind of nudged that brown sugar out of the way, which is interesting. It doesn't feel abrupt or anything like that. It just kind of wafts back and forth, which is cool. Pepper. There's still pepper on this. I say the pepper's comparable to where the Eye of the Shark was when I was at this point in the cigar, and that would be, I don't know, on the Retro Hill. I'm pretty pepper tolerant, but I'll say it's like a 3.5 or 4 or something like that. And it is a bit of black pepper, same thing, white pepper, and a red pepper. And not only the flavor, but the sensation. The sensation is on the back, where your nasal passages meet the throat. Okay, and I don't mind it at all. I think it adds a complexity to the cigar and adds balance to it. So I'm enjoying that. Yeah. It's starting to warm up a little bit. It's not hot, just warming up a bit, but still the smoke is very pleasant. The output is great. You can see the ash and judge that for yourself. It's a nice burn line. I'm liking how it's performing, and I'm hoping it doesn't fall off a cliff in this last bit here, but we'll go ahead and puff it on down and then get back to you. So yeah, one snap up and one to the side. Okay, we're well into the final third, and I'm going to cut this one a little bit short because it's getting a little bit hot, unfortunately. I just purged it for the first time, so we'll see what happens. Okay, it did cool off a bit. Now, I'm still getting that that brown sugar oak leather base, but it's not as sweet as it was before. I'm still getting a bit of that bitter dark chocolate, which I like. It seems like with every puff, it's it's changing a little bit. It's going back and forth between what I mentioned before with that almond, that deep almond note, mixing with brown sugar and such. But now, like I said, it's not as sweet as it was. That lemony citrus is still there, but it's not such a high note anymore. It's kind of taken a bit of a back seat. It's hard to describe. It was a very high, clear note that cut through the mix. Now it's kind of gone down and mixed with the base a little bit more. Still a creamy smoke. It is getting a bit more bitter. The strength is continuing to ramp up. The spice is still there, and a florality has been introduced into that, and that so you don't really feel it like a white pepper, red pepper spice. By the way, no more black pepper. It's white pepper and more red pepper, but that florality mixes in with that, and it comes off as a floral spice that leans toward grassy. Some people like that. I'm not a huge fan of that. The grassy notes I'm not. I'm okay with floral as long as it's not too floral. Yeah, it seems like everything's kind of mixing together now. I kind of like it when I can pick out the layers, and I still can, but it's kind of all getting muddled together at this point. And I failed to mention the cedar. The cedar's been present throughout. It's still there. But you know that cedar note, it sits on top of the oaky base notes, the oaky leather, brown sugar, almond base notes. And you kind of build up from there, the rest of your notes. Right there, just got like a zing, a nice clear zing of sweet lemony citrus. So it still has these little surprises from puff to puff, especially in this final third. But still, it is getting a little bit hot, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. Burn line is still good. Ash still looks good. Performance was great. How would I rate it? I guess on an S tier scale, if I was to take it by thirds, I would say the first third for me was, I'll say a B to a B plus. The second third I would put at second third for me would probably an A plus. And the final third started off well, but if I'm to consider everything about the final third, including the fact that, I don't want to punish myself by nubbing it, I will put the final third at, let's say, a C plus. I don't know how that all mixes up, but my overall impression of this would be I'd put this cigar at a B plus to an A minus. A minus if I just put it out early, somewhere in the middle of the final third. If I just set it down and let it go out, I give it an A minus. For the sake of taking video notes, we're in B plus territory considering how far I've smoked it down in the final third. Still, I love the cigar. It's one of my favorite Fuentes. I like it much more than Eye of the Shark. That's just, taste is subjective. I would pick this over a Shark any day of the week. And a matter of fact, the local shop just had their Opus drop, and along with a bunch of other goodies, I managed to grab three 25th Tributos, which was nice, and a bunch of other stuff. The Don Arturo Destino Siglo De Amores. So I'm looking forward to that one. I haven't had that one yet. Everything else I've had that was sitting out on the table, which was quite a bit. But they also had Sharks, and they had personal reserves, and I skipped over the Sharks. So I grabbed some more personal reserves, threw them in the humidor to smoke some other time. So yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot more to say. I'm sure I'm missing something, but yeah, that is my very armchair, off the cuff impressions of the Don Carlos Personal Reserve. It's almost three snaps in Z formation. V formation would be like this, right? I don't think anybody is gonna get the reference unless you're old like I am. But anyways, peace.